please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I apologize if everybody could remain standing. We would like to do a moment of silence for Russ Goff. He was our highway superintendent for many years, an incredible individual. Unfortunately, he passed away last week, and so if we could just have a moment of silence. Thank you. There you go. That's okay. Can I get a roll call?
Mr. Rogan?
Here.
Mr. Adriano?
Here.
Ms. Smith?
Here.
Supervisor Williams?
Here. Can I get a motion on the reports?
We can make a motion to approve the code enforcement compliance for June 2023, code enforcement for June 2023, dog control officer for June 2023, ECI, there's none, and the Patterson Recreation Report for May 2023. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion on the supervisor's report?
I'll make a motion, we approve the supervisor's report for May of 2023 in the amount of $15,407,128.09. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I get a motion on the minutes?
And on the minutes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the public hearing minutes from the Ice Pond Drainage District meeting of May 24th, 2023, and the town board meeting minutes of June 14th, 2023. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And can we order the bills?
Sure. I'd like to make a motion to approve abstract number 12 dated June 30th, 2023 in the amount of $215,923.32. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Seeing as we have no budget transfers, Mr. D'Andriano, you're up.
Okay, first I have is a bond release. I have a letter here, a memo here from our town planner. She reports that she's requesting a bond release for 9 Vista Lane in the amount of $7,223. In her memo, she says she's performed an inspection of the site. This time it appears the site has reached final stabilization and it would be seem appropriate for the town board to release the bond held by the town. So I'd like to go by her recommendations and approve a bond release for $7,223 for 9 Vista Lane. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, I have a EMS request from our EMS administrator, Bobby Kearns. So we both interviewed a candidate last week, Michael Brill. So Mr. Kearns is requesting that we hire Michael Brill as an EMT at the town of Patterson EMS, temporary until meeting all civil service background clearance and department hiring requirements. The appointment will be on a part-time basis with the hourly rate of $20.76. So I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to enter we have a resolution hiring Mr. Brill in the amount of $20.76. I'd like to enter this resolution into the record as read. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That is all I have.
Do you want to do this?
No,
You want?
I don't even know what it is.
All right. Would you like me to explain it, or you want to just table it?
You can explain it.
Okay. So there is a company who actually trains EMTs, but EMTs in their training need to have some time served on an ambulance. And this is a contract between the town of Patterson and the company, Aurora, to allow the town of, or allow their EMTs in training to ride as volunteers on our ambulance.
What does that do for the town? What's the benefit to the town?
It's nothing more than, you know, having volunteers riding our ambulances at their,
That's a third. So it's an
Is,
incentive.
do we need a hold harmless in the event that they're
Well,
hurt or?
so there's two parts to this. One is, if, I'll bring your attention to the term of the contract. The first line where it gets a little confusing, where it's gonna be in effect for both 4 years and 2 years. I would say if we're gonna do this, we want to do a 2-year agreement. And the second is any EMTs that are riding the ambulance, EMTs in training that are riding the ambulance need to go through the whole town volunteer EMT process.
Yeah.
Do we have a recommendation from our EMS administrator?
He is the one who gave it to me. I assumed he had talked to you about it the other day.
No.
So they have to abide by any of the SOPs and town employee requirements that the EMTs have to as a volunteer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, my opinion was we just let them ride as volunteers, but the company who's doing the training wanted something a little more formal.
Yeah, because they're gonna need, those EMTs are gonna need training hours to,
So this will help to build
yeah.
those training hours.
So I think something a little more formal would be better, so. if,
Is there a hope that some of these EMTs could then also be EMTs of the town of Patterson?
It's always a hope.
Because it seems like there's always a good turnover in our workforce there.
Well, it sounds like everybody's okay with this, so I'll make a motion that we approve the contract between Aurora RTI Rescue Training and the town of Patterson to allow training hours to occur on our ambulances for a term of 2 years, and under the understanding that all the volunteers that will be sent to us by RTI will undergo the same volunteer training and SOPs that we currently use now. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, Mr. Cook is not here. You all have a quote in front of you for the purchase of 3 Dell computers. This is standard. We do this every year. We replace out certain, the oldest computers so that we try to keep our technology current. Certainly, the computers are not getting any cheaper. So I'd like to make a motion to approve 3 Dell Precision 3660 towers for an amount of $5,041.35. So moved.
Second.
Question, do we know where they're going? Are they specified?
So, yeah, but it's kind of a surprise. One of them's probably going into Mary's office. Well,
Sorry,
you've got
Mary.
you've got the oldest computers, so we've got to change it out because of the operating systems. 2 might be going into Mary's office. 1 may be going into the accounting office, and then the other 2, I'm not sure yet. So we just always pick the oldest computers and swap them around. Did I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. It is with much regret that we have received a resignation from Kevin Butler, who has been on the planning board now for a number of years and has also been chairman of the planning board. Kevin was an outstanding individual who did just a fantastic job with our planning board, navigating through the often difficult process that applicants have to go through. So I'll make a motion to accept Mr. Butler's resignation as submitted. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we also have, with regret, a resignation from one of our EMTs, Mr. David Smith. So I'll make a motion that we accept David Smith's resignation as well. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Rogan.
Okay, for the next item on the agenda, if someone could let the gentleman in the hallway know that they're up. Come on in. So the next item we have is for consideration of subdivision open space overlay zone requirements or variance from those requirements for a property owned by BAM Properties. Mr. Anthony Genovese, the owner, is here along with his engineer architect? Engineer. And this is on Bullet Hole Road in Patterson. And just for everyone's edification, under the town code, the area where this property exists is under the open space overlay district, which requires certain consideration when they go through the planning board stage. And so, as the planning board has been diligently reviewing this project, they are recommending the town board consider potential variances to allow this subdivision to move forward. And sir, if you could state your name for the record and walk us through some of the finer points of this proposal.
Sure. Good evening. My name is William Angelillo from Han Engineering, the engineer for the applicant. The applicant here owns 25 acres on Bullet Hole Road. He is proposing a traditional subdivision for, as of right, for the R4 zoning district.
Will, I apologize, I'm gonna stop you. Is the light green on that mic?
Doesn't sound like it's picking up.
Yeah, it's off.
Okay. Yeah, it's very soft spoken.
All right. So, traditional four-lot subdivision in the R4 zoning district, which happens to also be in the cluster overlays zoning district. And the cluster overlay requires properties that are 1 to 2 acres and a special way of calculating the number of lots. There's two methods. The number one method yielded 5.6 lots, and the number two method yielded, I believe it was 3.6 lots, which rounds down to 3. So the variance we're asking for is to do 4 lots and do a traditional subdivision, which would create lots that vary in size from a little over 4 acres to one that's 11 acres. We feel that this traditional subdivision allows for preservation greater than what the cluster is attempting to do. So that's the main thrust for this, for why we want this type of subdivision. To do a cluster would require extensive grading and work on the site. With this proposed plan, we are putting 72% of the property into conservation easement, including the stream and its wetland setbacks and much of the steep slopes on the property, creating a connection to the Great Swamp on the other side of the railroad tracks, to which the applicant also owns a small sliver of land, which is about 7 acres on the other side of the train tracks. So we create one continuous habitat corridor.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you said that the owner is proposing a conservation easement on a separate lot, and that lot will stay as his ownership, but it'll be a conservation, so it's not gonna be turned over to open space or anything. I just wanna make sure we're clear on that.
He's open to doing that, yes. That would be the 7-acre lot, but regardless of what happens with that property, we are still proposing to put 72% of this 25
Understood.
acres into conservation easement.
And I'm not suggesting he do that, I was just, for clarification, I just wanted to
Certainly.
make sure.
We offered it. They came back and said there's really no benefit because nothing could be done on it anyway.
Yeah.
We didn't know if any of the community members or any of the different habitats,
Right.
whatever they had, they wanted it, we would donate it. We're fine with that because it's really unusable space. We can't use it in our calculations either.
Understood.
So it's no benefit. If somebody wanted it and it would benefit them, then we would be open to it.
You could donate it to
Otherwise-
the duck hunters down in the swamp.
Yeah, duck hunters. You know, it's on the other side of the tracks, you can't really get to it.
Yeah.
But we figured somebody would like to own that, you know?
Mhm.
So we're open to it if we can find the right person that wants it.
Understood.
Otherwise, we'll just hold on to it.
Either way, the property stays
Yeah.
as a benefit to the ecosystem and to the Great Swamp, so.
Yes, and the other thing is that we're, to create the lots, the 4 homes and the septic areas, our area of disturbance is under 3 acres. So again, we're trying to limit the amount of tree clearing. These are small, modest-sized homes, 4-bedroom, raised ranch style homes set within the wooded areas.
Understood. And I know the planning board went through this with you. The intent is that when the town board seeks to consider these variances, we have to see that there's offsetting and compelling reason, such as the environmental concerns that you mentioned around steep slopes, wetlands, maintaining the rural character of the neighborhood. And I think all of those things are considered in this proposal. this subdivision would look very similar to the rest of the character of that road, and certainly of the community. Do you want to open up any questions, conversation by the board?
Well, you can ask, just remember, we've got to schedule a public hearing for this. and
Well,
a
that's what
public hearing,
I was
right.
going to ask. Have we reached out to the residents within the area? So I guess
Yeah,
that
through
would be-
public hearing.
Yeah.
Pete, anything?
I've nothing.
Okay, well, we're gonna schedule this for a public hearing. I'll make a motion that we schedule a public hearing for the August 9th town board meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we'll see you gentlemen back here.
You said August 9th?
Yeah.
August 9th. We have to do it 14 days out.
Sure. And is there anything we need to do on our end in preparation for that? I mean, as in terms of sending notices or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope, we're all
Thank you.
good.
Appreciate you coming out
Thank you.
tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
Okay, the next item we have is from our building department. It is a request for a refund of fees for someone, Victor Scaparati, who applied for a alterations permit, and then they since amended the plan, which would then require a new building permit. So the building department has requested a refund of $150 for the application that Mr. Scaparata had withdrawn. So I'll make a motion, we approve that refund as stated in the memo dated July 5th, 2023 from our Director of Code Enforcement. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I've got to deal with a couple of grants tonight. The first grant, I have prepared a grant and it's ready to go. All I have to do is hit the send button once we get the resolution done. It is for the Putnam Lake area. It is a non-point source planning grant which will fund a study of the in-water control for nutrients, the engineering study that we're going to need to take a look at whether we're going to be dredging the lake. I've also included a couple of other elements within that grant application to do some stream inlet sampling, as we had talked about last year with the consultant, and also to replicate the USGS study. That was one of the recommendations in the HAB report. The total amount of the grant would be $42,700 if we are successful. There is a 10% match, so the town would be ponying up $4,270. Anybody have any questions?
Happy to see this.
I'd like to introduce this resolution approving submission of the 2023 non-agricultural, non-point source planning grant application. Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. The second is a little housekeeping. We had submitted for a grant, the Justice Court actually did, to change around the phone system. The low bidder is withdrawing their bid, apparently. The second low bidder, just to reorganize the existing equipment where it is, to make it more presentable, is Start Communications. I'd like to make a motion to approve Start Communications to perform the first phase of the infrastructure renovation at a cost of $8,500. And again, this will be covered by a grant. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That is it. Mary?
I guess Matt's been busy doing other stuff. I have only one request from his department for a new hire for a lifeguard. I'd like to make a motion to approve Neil Walia. He's completed his initial lifeguard waterfront CPR training, and he will be working for the town of Patterson as lifeguard based on the town's current guidelines for guards with no experience. The recommendation from Mr. Chabarro is $13 per hour. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the hire and the pay rate at $13 per hour for Neil Walia. So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's
Other
it.
business? Anybody have any other business they wish to bring up?
Rich, could I ask, we got a really good email about the storm or the assessments of the storm damage. If you could give us a little bit of an update on some of the problems that we experienced in Patterson and the response efforts.
So, actually, most of Patterson was very fortunate within the storm damage. The bulk of the damage was a result of 4 water bodies that are all up in Dutchess County that overtopped their dams and released a tremendous amount of water into Mill Stream, which is the stream that runs down alongside Route 292. Came down through Patterson. One bridge got a lot of debris in front of it. And when I say bridge, residential bridges, bridges going across private driveways. It caused some concern with a number of them. You know, I did dispatch our building department out to review every one of them to make sure everyone was okay. One in particular, while the basic infrastructure is still in good shape, the road surface, the driveway surface is gone, took the blacktop right out. But so much water was coming down, it was probably, in my estimation, 2 to 3 times the capacity of the channel to carry the water. At one point, it was about 3 feet over the top of Route 292. It was amazing to be out there to see this. Came down from Cushman Road, actually from probably Meadowbrook Farms Lane, about 200 yards down the road. It took out the whole side of the road. So Route 292 is currently a 1-lane road in that area. Did significant damage up along 292 in Dutchess County. Most of that at this point has been repaired. Hopefully DOT is going to be down in our neck of the woods tomorrow. Came down and the house right next to the stream on Route 311 actually covered the house. There was 7 to 8 feet of water in the basement. Completely took out all their utilities, their furnace. It all has to be replaced. The house currently isn't habitable. So, but it was fairly isolated to Millbrook. We did have a couple of other areas. There was some water that cascaded down through somebody's yard up off of Baldwin. Cut a 3-foot trench through that and then took out a section of our road. Most of that's been repaired. Our former planning board member, Robert Ledoux, washed out his driveway. That's been repaired. And the interesting thing is when I saw the amount of water over here, I became very concerned about Putnam Lake and went racing over to Putnam Lake very early. And it was like nothing happened. There wasn't even debris on the roads. So, and it was the same at my house. I mean, I have a fairly substantial wetland behind my house. Didn't get very much runoff at all. So we're, you know, as you know, County Executive Kevin Burns has declared a state of emergency. There is a threshold dollar amount for a storm countywide, which I think is about $643,000 that we have to meet countywide. So we are currently coming up with damage estimates that we're going to submit into the county. We're not going to have a lot here.
Putnam Valley and Phillipstown will, and Mayapack
Yeah,
Falls.
yeah. I know Putnam Valley got hit really, really hard. Several roads were just, you know, bridges were washed out. They put out a call for anybody that had any steel plates, so they could patch up some of the roads because people were trapped. So, yeah. So it was a very interesting night.
Also, I looked this evening before our meeting. I know the road is still, we don't have it open to the environmental park because there's still a lot of water on the road and down by the boardwalk. But we definitely have some damage down there that the entrance to the boardwalk has buckled significantly. But I don't know yet because until the water goes down, you know, there's certainly no life hazard there. The area is shut down. But we'll evaluate and we'll get the volunteers together and figure it out. So I'm sure that'll be a minimal impact, but we'll get it done. So.
Okay. All right. Public recognition. Any member of the public wish to be recognized, if you could approach the mic and give your name and address.
My name is Tim Murphy. I live on Old Route 22, the Supervisor's Road, because we have 2 supervisors on the road. I have a couple of questions. One, with that stream coming down 292 and the debris that's underneath the bridge going into that community that has 16 houses, who's responsible for taking the debris from underneath that bridge so it's going to be safe?
So it would be the private property owner, and you bring that up, it's actually the bridge that's just above that I'm more concerned with, because that's still blocked up. I was gonna give them 24 to 48 hours. The water is currently coming down, it's
Yeah,
receding, I'm watching the weather, but before I put them on notice and had a conversation with them about opening the stream back up, because you're right, there's a lot of debris in front of both of the
But that's their responsibility?
because it's a private road, it's not a town road, and it's
Okay.
not a state road, so.
Okay, and then on another note now, I'm going to raise the thing about a deputy supervisor. I'm unclear about it, so I just want to see if I can get some knowledge. At the present time, we don't have a deputy supervisor, is that correct?
No, that is incorrect.
Oh,
So state law allows the supervisor to appoint a deputy supervisor, and Mr. Rogan is the deputy supervisor. So anything happens to me, he assumes the helm.
with that appointment, does he become a salaried employee of the town, or is that a position that doesn't have a pay?
So he is already, a paid elected official. There is
Right.
a small stipend that goes with that position,
As the deputy?
yes.
Okay, moving forward, if a supervisor coming in determines that they can't fulfill the position, who would then make a deputy? It would be up to the supervisor to make a deputy?
The supervisor would if there was a situation where the supervisor, and correct me if I'm wrong, if the supervisor was incapable and had not, then the town board would appoint the deputy supervisor.
So then it would be a vote of the town board as opposed to the supervisor?
If the supervisor had not designated anybody, yes.
Then the town board would make that. And at that point, it could be somebody that is not a town employee. Then they would become a paid individual?
Yes, so the supervisor in his appointment of the deputy supervisor can appoint pretty much any resident of the town of Patterson. It does not have to be a town board member. It does not have to be an employee. It does not have to be an elected official.
Okay. And at that point, then they would get paid something?
Yes.
Okay. I think that handles that part.
Are you looking for a job, Mr. Murphy?
I'm
No.
just gonna ask that too. So are you applying?
I'm too old, I'm done. The other thing is, are we going to open up the town hall?
So yes, actually, we've opened it up quite a bit. About 2 to 3 weeks ago, the town board, listening to the residents, decided to allow people to come into the building now. So we still have the doors secured. You go to the window, you talk to the receptionist, you explain to her, what business you need to do. A lot of the business is still conducted in the lobby because it's efficient to do it that way. But if, say, you needed to go to the building department, as long as the building department was available at that time, yeah, we let you in the building.
I had a reason to go to the building department. What is this, Thursday? I think it was the beginning of the week. But after the phone call, they allowed me to go right up, and the building department was very helpful in, trying to help me out.
Great.
So that's all I have.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other member of the public wish to be recognized? We will turn it to our audience joining us by Zoom. If any member of the audience joining us by Zoom has any comments or questions, if you would unmute and state your name and address for the record. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all for coming.